What if I told you that keeping certain things private is not just a way to protect your peace, but also a powerful strategy for building inner strength and resilience? In a world where oversharing has become the norm, the Stoics teach us that privacy is not just a luxury, it's a necessity for maintaining control over our lives. We often reveal too much too soon and expose ourselves to unnecessary judgment, distractions, and vulnerabilities. But what if you could protect your energy and safeguard your personal growth by knowing exactly what to keep to yourself? In this video, we'll dive deep into 5 essential things you should always keep private, based on timeless Stoic wisdom. These practices will not only help you live a more intentional life, but also allow you to maintain a sense of autonomy and peace in a noisy world. From your goals to your inner thoughts, we'll reveal why Stoics believed privacy was key to personal mastery. Stick around until the end because each piece of advice builds on the last, and you won't want to miss how it all ties together. Let's unlock the power of silence and privacy together. Number 1. Your personal goals and ambitions. You have goals, big ones, small ones, dreams that keep you awake at night and others that quietly simmer in the background. And that's great. Everyone has them. But here's the thing, not everyone needs to know about them, especially before they're realized. In the fast-paced world we live in, there's this strange impulse to tell everyone about your plans, your ambitions. We think it makes us accountable. We think it will somehow force us to follow through. But the Stoics, the masters of personal discipline and self-mastery, had a very different approach. They didn't believe in broadcasting their goals to the world. Instead, they practiced a form of quiet dedication, choosing to focus their energy inward rather than seeking validation or attention from others. Epictetus, one of the leading Stoic philosophers, said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is a crucial insight. Before you share your goals with anyone else, you need to be absolutely clear with yourself. You need to define what you want to achieve, why you want to achieve it, and how you will get there. Your goals should be your own, personal, intimate, and solely for your own growth. When you keep your ambitions private, you protect the purity of your intentions. You stop seeking external approval or input. The moment you announce your plans to the world, you start to become subject to others, opinions, expectations, and sometimes even criticism. And these things can easily throw you off course. When you're constantly looking for validation, you risk becoming distracted or, worse, discouraged by the reactions of others. Here's an exercise for you. Think about one goal you're working toward right now. It could be related to your career, personal growth, health, or any area of your life. Now, imagine telling everyone you know about it. Picture the reactions, the advice, the expectations. Does it feel empowering or draining? Do you feel the pressure of others' opinions? If you're honest with yourself, you'll notice that the energy you put into seeking approval could be better spent on taking action. Now let's flip that. What if you kept that goal to yourself for a while? What if you focused solely on your efforts without the interference of anyone else's judgment? This is not about being secretive or dishonest. It's about staying true to your path without the distraction of other people's perspectives. You have the power to choose what you share and when you share it. And when the time is right, you can reveal your progress, not for validation, but to inspire and lead others. One of the key principles in Stoicism is the idea of controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. You can't control other people's reactions, but you can control your focus and your effort. By keeping your personal goals private, you take full ownership of your journey. You reduce the noise and the external distractions. This clarity of mind allows you to pour your energy into meaningful action. When you're moving toward a goal, remember that what we do now echoes in eternity, as Marcus Aurelius wisely said. Each small step you take toward your goal is significant. Every ounce of effort counts. And when you stay quiet about your ambitions, You avoid the trap of thinking you've already succeeded just because you've talked about it. So many people fall into the trap of talking about their dreams, but never doing the work. Talking feels like progress, but it's not. Action is what moves you forward. A Stoic practice you can apply is setting time aside each day to focus purely on your goals, without distractions, without talking about them to anyone. Whether you're working on a project, improving yourself physically, or learning a new skill, give yourself that uninterrupted time to simply do. At the end of the day, don't ask for validation. Don't check if someone's noticed. Just know you've moved a little closer to what you want to achieve. This practice of keeping your ambitions private also means learning to be comfortable with the uncertainty that comes with growth. There's no need to know exactly how things will unfold. Trust the process. Your job is to take each step, however small, and keep moving forward with confidence. As Seneca put it, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Don't waste your time seeking approval or telling others what you're going to do. Use that time to take action. Now, this doesn't mean you should never share your goals with anyone. As you progress and your goals start to take shape, you might find it helpful to share them with a trusted mentor or a small group of people who will support you in meaningful ways. But don't fall into the trap of constantly talking about your ambitions before they're fully formed. The more you share prematurely, the more you risk spreading your energy thin and losing momentum. Here's a final thought for you. Remember that every step you take toward your goal is a step toward becoming a stronger, more disciplined version of yourself. And that, ultimately, is what Stoicism is about. It's about focusing on your inner strength, on your ability to remain steadfast regardless of external circumstances. So take a step back. Look at your goals, keep them close to your chest. Do the work, keep pushing forward. In silence, let your actions speak for themselves. Your goals will become a reality, not because you talked about them, but because you stayed focused, disciplined, and true to your own path. Number 2, your struggles and challenges. We all have struggles. That's a given. The tough days, the moments where it feels like the universe is testing your patience, your strength, your resolve. It can be easy to want to share those struggles with the world, to vent, to get sympathy, or simply to feel heard. But here's a thought for you. What if you kept your struggles to yourself? The Stoics would tell you that the battles you face internally, your struggles, your pain, your challenges, are not meant to be broadcast for the world to see. Instead, they are opportunities for growth, resilience, and self-mastery. To air them out publicly is to give them power over you. By doing so, you invite external opinions and judgments into something that should remain personal, private, and within your control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics to ever live, reminds us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This means that the struggles and challenges you face are not obstacles to avoid but essential parts of your path. They are not meant to be shared for pity, but used as stepping stones toward becoming a stronger version of yourself. Here's the thing. When you share your struggles with others, you may end up giving them more attention than they deserve. It's easy to get caught up in the narrative of your difficulties, talking about them over and over, allowing them to define you. But what happens when you keep those struggles private? You take back control. You stop letting external factors shape how you feel about yourself. Instead of turning to others for comfort, you turn inward, leaning into the strength that's already within you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your struggles, your challenges, they're part of life. You can't avoid them. What you can control is how you respond. Do you react with frustration and helplessness, or do you rise above them with calm determination? The Stoic approach encourages you to take ownership of your response and to cultivate an inner peace that remains untouched by external circumstances. When you face a challenge, the last thing you need is to drag others into it. Yes, It's natural to want support and understanding, but sharing your struggles too openly can lead to the wrong kind of attention. You might invite sympathy, but sympathy doesn't solve problems. It can even make you feel more powerless. The Stoic view is that your focus should be on action and growth, not on the approval or pity of others. So, what can you do instead? How can you transform your struggles into sources of strength rather than sources of weakness? Let's start with a practical exercise. Acknowledge your struggle. When you feel yourself facing a difficult situation, instead of reaching out to others to talk about it, take a moment to acknowledge the challenge. Say to yourself, "Yes, this is difficult, but it's an opportunity for me to grow." This simple recognition shifts your mindset. You go from being a passive victim of circumstance to an active participant in your own story. Focus on what you can control. There are things you can control and things you can't. Instead of venting to others about the things you cannot change, turn your energy toward the things you can control. How can you adjust your behavior? What actions can you take to navigate this challenge with strength and wisdom? By focusing on what you can control, you reclaim your power. Practice resilience. Resilience is the art of staying steady even when things get tough. Every time you face a challenge without publicly sharing it or seeking sympathy, you build resilience. Each time you keep moving forward despite difficulties, you strengthen your inner resolve. When you keep your struggles private, you create a space for yourself to reflect, learn, and grow in solitude. Use Stoic reflection. In moments of challenge, reflect on the teachings of the Stoics. Remember that obstacles are not there to stop you, they're there to strengthen you. Seneca famously said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." When you reflect on your struggles in this way, they become less of a burden and more of an opportunity. Finally, remember that your struggles don't define you. How you choose to respond to them does. The Stoics believed in cultivating an unshakable mindset, one that remains centered no matter what life throws your way. By keeping your struggles private, you allow yourself the space to grow through them quietly, without distraction, and without letting others' opinions sway you. So the next time you face a challenge, pause before you share it with the world. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, turn your attention inward. Ask yourself, how can I use this to grow? What lesson can I learn from this experience? Through this practice, you'll develop the strength and resilience to face any struggle with calm and poise, always moving forward, no matter how tough it gets. Number 3, your financial situation. Your finances are a sensitive topic, so much more than just numbers on a page or digits on a screen. They are tied to your personal security, your sense of freedom, and your long-term goals. And yet, in a world that constantly discusses money, it's easy to forget the power of privacy when it comes to your financial situation. The Stoics understood something profound about the relationship between money and peace of mind. They didn't view wealth as the ultimate measure of success, but they did value how one handled money, what your relationship with it says about you. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In a world driven by consumption, where comparison and competition are at the forefront, your financial situation can easily become a source of anxiety or even pride. That's why keeping your finances private is so important. It's not about secrecy. It's about protecting your inner peace and cultivating a relationship with money that reflects your true values, not the expectations of others. So why should you keep your financial situation private? Let's break it down. 1. It prevents external pressure. One of the biggest reasons to keep your finances private is to avoid external pressure. When you broadcast your financial situation, you open the door to others' opinions, whether they're offering advice, judgment, or envy. People may start to treat you differently based on how much you have or don't have. and that can lead to stress, resentment, or even guilt. The Stoics believed that external validation was a source of suffering. By keeping your financial situation to yourself, you take control over how you feel about your own worth. Here's the thing: no one truly knows what's going on behind the scenes in your life. There's no need to broadcast your wins or your struggles. What's important is that you understand your financial situation, take full responsibility for it, and use it as a tool to live in alignment with your values. 2. Focus on what you can control. In Stoicism, a central principle is controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. Your income, expenses, investments, these are areas where you have power. The moment you start comparing yourself to others, measuring your wealth against someone else's, you surrender control. Instead, focus on your own journey, your own financial habits. Assess your spending, saving, and investing based on your own goals and priorities. Don't let external standards or others' opinions define your success. Start with an exercise. Track your expenses for a week without judgment. Write them down and reflect on them. Notice where you could adjust without feeling deprived. Focus on improvement rather than comparison. This is where your real control lies, on your own actions, not anyone else's perception of you. 3. Protect your peace of mind. Money is often linked to stress, but that doesn't have to be the case. The Stoics believed in cultivating peace through acceptance. If you're constantly talking about your financial situation, you may find yourself reacting to the opinions and advice of others, whether they're well-intentioned or not. This can easily create stress, especially if you feel like you're being judged for your financial choices. The best approach is to focus on what you can control and to let go of what you can't. If you're working toward financial stability or growth, that's something to be proud of, regardless of where others are at. The Stoic practice here is to stay grounded in your own path and to recognize that peace of mind isn't about having more money, but about making wise decisions with what you have. 4. Protect yourself from unwanted opinions. When you start sharing too much about your financial situation, you open the door to others giving unsolicited advice. Financial advice is everywhere, on social media, from family, from friends. But the truth is, only you know the specifics of your situation. By keeping your finances private, you eliminate the noise and the unwanted distractions. You can confidently take your own steps without the pressure of trying to meet others' expectations. A simple exercise here. Each month, take some time to review your finances privately. Sit down, reflect, and set goals for your financial future based on your values, not what anyone else might suggest. This practice brings clarity and helps you stay aligned with what really matters to you. 5. Focus on internal wealth, not external. Finally, remember this. The Stoics placed far more value on internal wealth, virtue, wisdom, and character than on external wealth. True wealth, according to Stoic philosophy, comes from your ability to be content and purposeful regardless of your financial standing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you're constantly focused on what others think of your financial situation, you'll never be truly content. Your financial situation, no matter where it stands today, is simply a reflection of the habits and decisions you've made up until now. If you don't like where you are, take control of your habits, learn from your mistakes, and make the necessary changes, without worrying about how others perceive you. So here's a practical exercise to help you shift your mindset. Take some time each day to reflect on your financial goals, not just your bank balance, but what you want your financial life to represent. Write down what kind of financial habits you want to cultivate. Make a list of values that matter more to you than money, like freedom, security, or even generosity. Let these values guide your decisions, not the desire for external validation. In closing, remember that your financial situation is yours to navigate, and it's not anyone else's business. By focusing on what you can control, protecting your peace, and staying grounded in your values, you build a strong foundation for financial health, and more importantly, for personal contentment. So, take a deep breath, reflect on what's truly important, and move forward with confidence, quietly, privately, and with purpose. Number 4, your relationships and personal connections. There's a natural inclination to share the details of your personal relationships, the highs, the lows, the moments of intimacy, and even the moments of tension. It's part of human nature. But when it comes to relationships, especially the intimate and personal connections that shape your life, the Stoics would suggest that keeping certain things private isn't just wise, it's necessary for your own well-being and growth. Why? Because your relationships are yours. They should be handled with care, not for the approval or judgment of others. The Stoics understood that external opinions could cloud your judgment and disturb your peace. Your relationship with a partner, family member, or close friend is sacred, something that requires respect, trust, and the ability to navigate the inevitable complexities that come with human connection. And as much as we may want to vent or seek validation, sharing too much about your personal connections can invite unnecessary outside influence, often leading to conflict, misinterpretation, or even unnecessary tension. The philosopher Epictetus reminds us that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Similarly, with relationships, the Stoic approach isn't about revealing every detail to the world. It's about wanting less external input. Your relationship should not be about seeking validation, but about true, authentic connection. 1. Protect your relationships from outside influence. We live in a world where opinions are abundant, on social media, among friends, even from family. And when you share personal details about your relationships with others, you open the door for these opinions to seep in. Whether it's about your partner, your parents, or your friends, the moment you share personal matters with others, you invite their judgment into something that should remain between you and the people involved. Think about it. When you reveal private aspects of your relationships, whether they're good or bad, people may start to form opinions about your connection. These opinions often come from a place of incomplete information, and they can skew how you feel about your relationship. The Stoics would say, protect your peace and your connection. Keep your struggles and triumphs private. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have a support system, or that you should never seek advice, but it's about keeping the sanctity of your relationship intact by not letting outside influences dictate how you think or feel about your loved ones. 2. Avoid the trap of seeking validation. It's tempting to post pictures of your relationship or talk about it in great detail with friends. But remember, your relationship is not a performance. You don't need the approval of others to affirm its worth. The moment you start seeking validation from others about your connection, you risk losing sight of what matters most, the bond between you and the other person. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you look outside for validation, your thoughts become tied to external judgments instead of the internal connection you have with your partner or loved one. The Stoic approach asks you to center yourself on what truly matters, the depth of the relationship, not how others view it. A simple exercise for you. Each time you feel the urge to share something personal about your relationship with others, ask yourself, what am I seeking from this? Is it to validate my connection, or is it because I truly want to share and bond with this person? By focusing on why you're sharing, you reclaim your own intention and stop seeking approval. 3. Foster internal peace and clarity. Personal relationships often come with challenges. These challenges, if shared with the world, can amplify the negativity and confusion you might already be feeling. The Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control is especially relevant here. You can't control how others react to your relationship or how they perceive it, but you can control how you navigate its ups and downs internally. When you keep your relationships private, you create a space where you can reflect and respond from a place of calm, rather than reacting impulsively based on others, advice, or judgments. You don't need the world to weigh in on the issues that arise. Instead, you can rely on your own wisdom and judgment to find the best path forward. This cultivates resilience in your relationship and in yourself. A great exercise to try: when faced with a disagreement or a tough situation in your relationship, take a few moments to breathe and reflect before seeking outside advice. Ask yourself, what is the wise thing to do here? What aligns with my values and the integrity of my relationship? This practice allows you to respond thoughtfully, keeping your internal peace intact. 4. Build a strong foundation based on trust, not gossip. Trust is the cornerstone of any strong relationship, and when you air your personal life to others, you risk undermining that trust. Even if you have good intentions, gossip, whether it's about a small annoyance or a serious issue, can cause rifts. The Stoics were all about building strong internal character, and part of that is respecting the privacy of your relationships. Don't let the temptation to share become an excuse to break trust. Instead, invest your energy in strengthening the bond with your loved ones, protecting your relationship from the noise of the outside world. To build trust and a deeper connection, practice having conversations with your partner or loved one in private, focusing on active listening and mutual respect. This doesn't just strengthen the relationship itself, but it also reinforces your ability to keep it sacred and protected from outside opinions. 5. Focus on what you can control. In relationships, there's often a lot of uncertainty. People change, situations shift, and emotions fluctuate. The Stoic approach teaches you to focus on what you can control: your actions, your words, and your responses. The more you share about your relationship with others, the more you risk shifting focus away from your own actions and intentions, putting it onto external perceptions. To embrace this, practice reflection. After spending time with a loved one, reflect on how your actions have aligned with your values. Are you speaking with integrity? Are you acting with respect and understanding? Focusing on how you contribute to the relationship strengthens your sense of self and encourages a deeper, more intentional connection with those you care about. In the end, keeping your relationships private doesn't mean isolating yourself or cutting off support. It means respecting the intimacy and vulnerability that exist within those connections. It means protecting your relationship from external noise, nurturing it with patience and care, and focusing on what you can control: your actions, your communication, and your inner peace. So the next time you're tempted to share the intimate details of your personal connections, pause and ask yourself, what is my intention here? Am I seeking validation, or am I honoring the sanctity of this bond? By practicing privacy and mindfulness in your relationships, you not only protect them but also cultivate a deeper sense of peace, trust, and authenticity in your life. Number 5. Your internal thoughts and emotions. Your thoughts, your emotions, they're the core of who you are. It's in these private, internal moments that your true character is revealed. But here's something to consider. Just because something passes through your mind or stirs in your heart doesn't mean it needs to be shared with the world. Your internal world is yours, and that's incredibly powerful. The Stoics, those ancient masters of inner peace and resilience, understood the importance of guarding and managing your internal state. They taught that while we can't control everything that happens outside us, we can control how we respond internally. By keeping your thoughts and emotions private, you create a space where you can reflect, grow, and choose your reactions with intention, not impulse. The moment you start broadcasting your inner world, you risk losing control over it. Epictetus famously said, "We are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens." This powerful insight reminds us that our emotions are often the result of how we perceive things, not the things themselves. So, the more you learn to master your inner dialogue and emotional responses, the more you cultivate a life of peace and resilience. Keeping your thoughts and emotions private is part of that mastery. 1. Master your thoughts. Don't let them master you. Let's be real. Your mind can be chaotic. We all have moments of doubt, worry, anger, and fear. But what if I told you that you don't need to share every one of those thoughts with others? You don't need to vent every time you feel frustrated or seek validation when you feel uncertain. The Stoics believed in the power of self-reflection, in taking control of your own thoughts, and in choosing how to respond. Here's a simple practice for you. When you catch yourself spiraling into negative thoughts, take a step back. Breathe. Rather than spilling those thoughts to someone else, pause and ask yourself, what's the lesson here? What's within my control? This shift in perspective helps you regain control over your emotions and allows you to reflect more deeply rather than reacting impulsively. You'll start to notice that not every passing thought deserves your attention or action. 2. Protect your peace. Your emotions are powerful, but they can also be volatile. One moment you're feeling on top of the world, and the next, you're overcome with doubt or frustration. It's easy to want to share these swings with others, but when you do, you risk inviting others into your emotional chaos. Sharing your emotional ups and downs with others can create unnecessary drama and sometimes even make you feel more unstable. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The more you share every emotional fluctuation, the more your happiness becomes dependent on external validation. Instead, focus on protecting your inner peace. When you experience intense emotions, try this. Instead of immediately talking about it, sit with it for a moment. Reflect. Why are you feeling this way? What can you learn from it? The more you protect your peace internally, the more resilient you become in the face of external challenges. 3. Practice emotional resilience. One of the most important aspects of Stoic philosophy is emotional resilience, learning to stay calm and steady, no matter what life throws your way. And this starts with keeping your emotional world to yourself. When you're constantly sharing your emotions with others, it can create an unhealthy dependency on their reactions. You start seeking reassurance or validation from external sources instead of cultivating the strength to deal with your emotions on your own. A practical exercise you can try. Next time you feel a strong emotion, whether it's anger, sadness, or excitement, resist the urge to immediately share it. Instead, take a few moments to reflect. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What does this emotion teach me about my thoughts or beliefs? By doing this, you practice emotional resilience. You begin to process your emotions internally instead of reacting outwardly. This strengthens your ability to remain grounded, no matter the situation. 4. Avoid the trap of oversharing. There's a temptation to share every little detail about your emotional life with others. You might think it will help you process things faster or make you feel understood. But the truth is, oversharing can actually weaken your emotional well-being. The more you broadcast your inner world, the more you rely on others to process your emotions for you. This can lead to feelings of emptiness or dependence. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When you share your internal struggles too much, you run the risk of amplifying them. Rather than giving your thoughts and emotions more power through constant discussion, take control. Keep the most personal parts of your emotional life to yourself. By doing this, you're not bottling things up. You're simply reserving space for personal growth and reflection. You'll find that the more you handle your emotions on your own, the more control you'll have over them. 5. Reflect before you speak. Another benefit of keeping your thoughts and emotions private is the opportunity it gives you to reflect before you act. When your emotions run high, it's easy to say things you don't mean or make decisions you later regret. The Stoic approach here is simple. Don't let your first emotional reaction dictate your actions. Instead, take a moment to pause and reflect. Try this simple exercise. Next time you're about to share something emotionally charged with someone, pause. Take a deep breath. Reflect on whether speaking about it will add value to the situation or simply amplify the emotional turmoil. If it's the latter, ask yourself what you can do internally to process the emotion without external validation. This practice helps you develop emotional maturity and allows you to make more thoughtful, intentional decisions. 6. Cultivate emotional independence. At the end of the day, your internal world is yours to shape. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes when you stop relying on external circumstances or people to dictate how you feel. Your thoughts and emotions are powerful, but only if you take responsibility for them. By keeping them private, you remove the temptation to rely on others for emotional support or validation. You become self-sufficient, grounded in your own ability to process and respond to whatever life throws your way. So here's your challenge. Start observing your internal world without rushing to share it. When you experience strong emotions, ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? How can I handle this emotion with wisdom and composure? The more you practice emotional self-reliance, the more you'll find your inner peace, your resilience, and your clarity growing stronger. Remember, your thoughts and emotions don't need to be public. They are tools for your growth. The Stoics understood that the more you control your inner world, the more peace you'll experience. So, guard your thoughts, reflect on your emotions, and choose your reactions wisely. Your inner life is your greatest asset. Treat it with the privacy and respect it deserves. Thank you for watching. In a world where everything is shared, the Stoic approach reminds us that privacy is a form of personal strength and clarity. By keeping certain things private, we protect our peace and focus on what truly matters. If you found value in this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more Stoic wisdom. Stay true to yourself, and remember, the best life is one lived with intention. Until next time, stay Stoic.